Hold up. This isn't some cheesy kid show. This is Kids in the Tank, a young perspective on business from high school students.
Welcome back to Kids in the Tank. I'm Jenna, and with me in the tank are Trent and Jack. Today we are honored to have Brian Buzzell in the studio with us. Brian is a retired captain in the U.S. Navy and is a serial entrepreneur. Brian, you are officially in the hot seat.
So, Brian,
Wonderful.
Question for you. If you could spend the day with anyone from any point in history, who would it be and why?
I would like to spend the day with Teddy Roosevelt.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
And I think you all know he was president back in the turn of the century, late 1800s. And just because his life was so interesting, he was a hunter, he was a politician, and because of my Navy background, he was the first president of the United States that really understood why we need a Navy and why control of the seas is very important to the country. And I've read a couple of his biographies. He also traveled in South America. People don't realize he disappeared for like 7 months. This was before I think he was president. I may be wrong on that. And just went through the Amazon. So he was a very colorful character. And so I think that's who I'd like to sit down and drink a beer with.
That'd be quite the experience.
Yeah, it really would be. So from your military experience, what is one lesson you learned that would be beneficial for high school and college students?
I think I addressed that a little bit earlier, but leadership. If you want to, at a very young age, lead men and women, not necessarily in combat, but in their chosen vocation, whether it's infantry or on a ship or in an airplane, you at a very young age, you will be put in a leadership position. And then, as I spoke to you all about earlier, because you're so young, and the senior enlisted people are a lot older, listen to them, take their advice and follow it, and then you will be successful also.
Makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going into college as a business administration major. So when you were going into college as an economics major, did you ever imagine yourself ending up where you did in your career?
Yes and no. It took a lot of different twists. And as I mentioned earlier, I seized the opportunity. As I came to a curve in the road, and I had to choose which curve to take, which way to go, I chose that way based on the circumstances at the time, and then I made the most of it. And sometimes that curve came back around the other way, and now I'm back where I started. But one thing, you've always got to be positive. Never get negative. Always be positive, no matter what's going on in your life, with your job or with your family. Stay positive. Stay positive, and that's very important. And I've always been a positive guy.
Yes, sir.
Good insight.
Yeah.
So throughout your career, what was your most valued relationship, and how did that affect your life?
Well, most valued relationship is obviously your wife, and then children. But as I mentioned in the earlier lecture, I made a lot of very close friends, and I have kept those close friends through my entire life. I make a habit of contacting them and going to see them. A lot of people don't do that. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that it's very important to go see the older people in your life, your grandparents, or if you have great-grandparents, the wisdom you learn from them is just unbelievable. And I've always done that through my entire life. I always went to visit the older people.
All right.
Sounds pretty cool.
That's yeah, I really respect that. Did your service in the Navy and your passion for sailing have any connection to each other?
Not really. I grew up on Delavan Lake sailing. I've sailed all my life. And did the Navy give me an opportunity to sail? Yes, I was Commodore of the U.S. Navy Sailing Association as a young lieutenant. Very unusual at the time. Normally they were admirals, retired admirals. But, you know, you guys have gotten to know me.
Yeah.
I don't sit around, and when I have an idea or I have something I want to get done, I get it done. So I was well known in the Navy for my sailing prowess, but being on a ship or being on in an airplane, the two of them really aren't connected. It's just, yes, I'm stationed in Norfolk, San Diego, Pearl Harbor, Subic Bay, the Philippines. I have access to sailboats, yes. So there is that connection.
Yeah.
With your extensive involvement in the military, what made you return to business by owning and operating a Five Guys restaurant?
It gets back to the title slide. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I always wanted to own a restaurant. Remember, I started out as a pot washer and went to the White House. Even when I first was in the Navy, I talked about owning a restaurant or being in that business. And when the opportunity arose for me to get involved in Five Guys, and I was one of the original Five Guys franchisees, I failed to mention Five Guys will be a $3 billion company this year.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. And so I did it for 4 years, 5 years, learned a lot, and learned that I'm not really that good at it.
Yeah.
So
You win some, you
I'm
lose some.
better at selling radars to the United States Navy than at flipping hamburgers.
Gotta know what you're good at, right?
Yeah.
Gotta know. And but I lived my dream. I wanted to be in the restaurant business. So I did it. I had the opportunity. I seized the opportunity and learned from that opportunity.
Credit to you for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you for answering all of our questions. We'll now be moving on to our next segment, Flip It, where you will be asking us the questions.
I am ready. Is
We
Jack
might be,
ready?
depending on the questions.
I am ready.
I see you're wearing a certain hat that has to do with fishing.
Yes.
Is
that would
that
be
your
accurate.
passion in life?
I love fishing.
You love fishing. And are you going to go to college or trade school?
Probably college.
Probably college?
I'm looking at UW Platteville.
Are you? So how do you see, well, that's on the Mississippi River, right?
Yep.
So you're going to be fishing all along.
Yep.
If you had an opportunity to join the military, would you give it a serious consideration? And if not, tell me why not.
Actually, this upcoming Friday, I'm going to be finishing up all my papers with the Army National Guard. So I'll be enlisted and I'll be going to this drill once a month with other kids who are like my age who haven't yet had the opportunity to go to basic training because they're still in high school. And just get that ball rolling so then when I go to basic this upcoming summer, I'll already be ready. So this Friday, I'll be enlisting.
So I guessed right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Great minds think alike, I guess.
What?
Great minds think alike.
Well, no, I could tell by your demeanor and your questions earlier that there was a spark there. And I just wanted to pull it out. So, okay, now we'll switch to Jenna.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
And tell me again your major.
Business administration.
Business administration.
Yeah.
So that's pretty broad.
Yeah.
What do you think will be your hardest course to take at school?
Honestly, I think it's going to be some of my gen eds, if that makes any sense. The courses that you have to take your freshman and sophomore year, like the things that aren't related to your major. Like, I have never been really good at science, and I have to take a science course in order to work on my major courses. So I think that's going to be my biggest struggle, just to get past those in order to get to the business classes that I'm really passionate about. I mean, it's not going to be impossible, but it will be some work to do.
So what's your plan to get past those courses? I can relate to this.
Yeah.
No way I was passing calculus or statistics.
Yeah.
But I had a plan. Mm-hmm. So what's your plan?
Honestly, I'm going to have to study a lot and really try to get myself interested in science, because I find that what I'm interested in, I tend to do better in. So if I can get myself interested, maybe that'll help me get past those classes.
When we're done with this podcast, I'll give you a hint on how to do this. All right?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Trent.
Oh boy, here we go.
Now, unfortunately, I know his father, and I know his
Oh, yeah.
grandfather.
So sorry.
So, Trent, what are you going to do when you graduate from Delavendarian High School?
The plan right now is to go to college. I'm looking at lacrosse right now. That's my top choice as of right now. And go into business or therapy. I don't know. I'm still deciding between the two of those, but I want to keep my options open. And those are my two passions right now, so that's what I'm looking into.
And you have no desire to take over your family business?
I mean, I work in the restaurant industry, but in a way, I kind of just want to make my own path. I want to do what's best for me, because I like the restaurant industry. It's fun, and I enjoy it, but it's not one of my top passions right now, and I just want to go out there right now and find what best fits me.
So it's a pretty wide range between business and I think physical therapy, right?
Therapy of some sort, yes, but those are pretty spread apart.
Yeah.
Yes. So which one do you have the passion for?
I've always had a knack for business and like selling things, so I like that, but I also like science courses and that kind of stuff, and that's kind of led a little bit into therapy, and just I know people that are therapists, so it's just something that I kind of look into.
So when you get there, in your freshman, sophomore year, think about what I talked about earlier about seizing the opportunity.
Yep.
Then I think you'll know what you actually want to.
Yep.
want
It'll
to
come
do.
with time.
So, okay, is that it?
I think that's it.
I think that's all we
Yep.
got.
Well, it's really great having met you kids.
Yeah,
It's
and
such an
thank
honor
you.
to
Meeting
be
you.
here.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much for
And
coming
before
with
we
us.
end, I would just like to thank you for your service.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you
in our
so much for your
military.
service.
You're welcome.